everyone, I'm Brianna. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing my November wrap up, and wow, I can't believe it's almost December already, guys. That's crazy. This year honestly flies by. As soon as December's over, I feel like it's almost May in my school year. But yeah, I did okay this month reading, and I had a good quality reads this month, which was nice, unlike October. But yeah, I always have a rough time reading until the spring and summer seasons just because it's school and I never have time to read during school and sports. But yeah, so I'm going to do my wrap up. I don't know how many books I read. You guys will probably figure out with how many I said. So I read 2 Kindle books. One was called Win Big by Bella Love Wins. I think that's her name. That was a football sports romance, and it was okay. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 on Goodreads. And yeah, my Goodreads is linked down below, so whatever books I talk about, I always have my opinion in the description, so I would definitely check it out if you want more information. But it was okay. I felt like it was really fast, and I didn't really fall in love with the characters. And the other one I read, which was also sports romance, football, it was The Rivalry by Nikki Sloan. And this book was so good. I gave it a 5 out of 5. And it just had everything I looked for in a sports romance. It had, obviously, the romance. The characters were hilarious. It was so funny. The plotline was great. And it pretty much had football in it, and I like when they show the sport in the book because it's not just the romance. You see how there is sports, and it was about the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry, and if you guys don't know about football, that's a rivalry, that's a thing. But I loved it. I hope Nikki Sloan comes out with more sports books because that was really good, but I highly recommend that book. And yeah, they were both quick reads. I kind of read them in a day. I tend to read my Kindle books really fast. But yeah. So the next book I finished, finally, was Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This was my outside reading book for my AP Lit class. And it was okay. It was just interesting. And as I got further into the book, I can see how the author was trying to relate what was happening here into what could happen in society if society just blindly followed the government and the government started taking away rights and everything. I mean, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was weird some parts because I feel like there was a ton of drug use and just sexual stuff in here. And it was just so graphic, and I didn't expect that for a book that was written in the 1930s. So it was kind of I think it was written in the 1930s. Don't quote me, but I think. But it was very whoa. So it was interesting. Not my cup of tea, but I did enjoy it when I read it, and it's an interesting book to read just because it shows you what a society can become if everything is so regulated. So it was good. It primarily focused on how this new society, this brave new world, creates they don't have mothers anymore, so it's kind of genetic engineering to create humans, and then they're put in a caste system, and they have drugs to keep them in check. I don't know. It was interesting. But yeah. The next book I read was an arc that I got in October, and I read it in November, so you see how bad I am, guys. But I was really disappointed with this book. I couldn't finish her other book that I read, so I kind of should have, I can't talk today. I kind of should have realized that it wasn't going to be good, but this is Top 10 by Katie Contugo. I've been hearing mixed reviews, and I definitely gave this a 2 out of 5. It just really wasn't great. It was kind of boring, the whole book. The plot line was very basic, and I don't know, it was just a typical teen romance, and I wasn't really feeling it. The characters kind of annoyed me, and I don't know, just how they were in high school and how they were trying to find themselves, and it was kind of a coming of age story. It just wasn't that good, and it wasn't that detailed, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. The 2 characters, I don't even remember their name, Brian and Gabby, they annoyed me half the time. Half the stuff they did, I was that's dumb. Why would you do that? I don't know. It wasn't great. I yeah, I feel sorry saying it wasn't great, but it really wasn't. But yeah. The next book that I read, I enjoyed. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 just because I didn't like just the ending, was The Glass Arrow by Kristen Simmons. I know another booktuber talked about this. I'm not sure who it was, but that's how I got the recommendation. And I really enjoyed it. This is about a society where females are hunted and they're basically used, and they're just sold in auctions and used to make baby boys. And it was interesting. I like the plot line. I wish it wasn't like as the writing wasn't as juvenile as it was, because I felt like it could have been, this definitely could have been an adult book. And I think this is supposed to be a YA, but the plot line is kind of more intense, so I think the writing should have been elevated to match the plot. But overall, I like the character. She was a very strong female. Aya, I think her name was, that's how you pronounce it, but she was such a strong female character, and I really liked how she wouldn't take no for an answer, and she basically escaped everything for her, like, she escaped like 20 million times, and she still got caught, and she kept trying to escape, and she kept doing it, and she did remind me a lot of Celaena Sardothien in the Throne of Glass series, but I just really liked her attitude in here, so I definitely recommend this book. The next book I read was Haven by Mary Lindsay. This I gave a 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. I was not expecting this at all. Like, the original title for this was Hide From Me, yeah, and I really like the cover and the title, so I kind of wish it went back to that, but I do like this cover because it makes it more mysterious. And I went to this book, it basically is Sometimes Beauty and the Beast, so I bought it because I was in Beauty and the Beast, so I kind of wanted something like that, and I thought it was going to be a retelling, and holy moly guys, like, this book shocked me to no end. I didn't think anything like that was going to happen, and I'm super excited I read this, and it's a pretty dense book, which was nice. So yeah, I knew nothing about this going into it except for Sometimes Beauty is the Beast, that's it. And the description on the inside is very vague, but this is a paranormal book actually, and it was really good paranormal. It had not every single creature, it mainly focused on werewolves. But if you guys stop here, if like fast forward if you don't want to like know about this, because I went to this blank and I loved it, but this follows kind of werewolves in a town that doesn't really know they exist, so half of the people are like werewolves or warlocks or witches or whatever, but I thought it was really good, very dark, and it was just interesting, like the hierarchy and the stuff that was happening in here. I definitely think this is going to be a standalone because they ended it in a way that kind of is done. But I really enjoyed this book and I definitely recommend it. Oh, and Jennifer Armentrout blurbed in the back. I didn't even know that. But yeah, I definitely recommend this book. I wasn't really in the mood for paranormal and I just loved it because I haven't read one in a while. So definitely recommend it. The next two books go together. It's Do Not Disturb by A.R. Torr and If You Dare by A.R. Torr. This is the second and third book of the, oh my god, I forgot her name. Well, the Girl in 6E, this is the second and third book of this. I forgot the girl's name already, which is super bad because I read this back in, like, the beginning of November. But after I read The Girl in 6E, I fell in love with these, and I wanted to get the second and third book to see how it end. The second book, I gave it 5 out of 5. It was great. I loved how they continued it, and it was just so dark, and I loved her relationship with Jeremy. I love how I know the boyfriend's name, but not her name. I can't, guys. I'm, like, losing it. But this book was so good. It continued the first book perfectly, and just a lot of the stuff in here was great. But yeah, so if you guys don't know, I talked about Girl in 60s in, I think, my October wrap-up somewhere, but definitely go check that out. I 100% recommend this if you guys are into the adult psychological thriller psychological thriller book, because this is definitely it. If You Dare, I was very disappointed with this actually. I feel like it was so different from what she normally did, and this does a lot of like past, present, past, present things, and it just wasn't what I was looking for, because I just wanted it to be just her and like her personality and just what she was doing and her doing like living through having a wanting to murder people. Like I love that about that, and this book just didn't give it to me. Like Mike was not in this book a lot, who is one of the hackers that she not really hired, but she pays for his services as a hacker. And he wasn't in this, and I liked him as a character. Sorry, this video is going to be super long, guys. But I didn't really like it. It kind of ruined the series for me. But I definitely recommend books 1 and 2. One of the next books I read is My Lucky Catch by C.M. DePorto. This is book 6 in the series. It's kind of a standalone. This follows Luke and Delaney. This is the baseball part. The other 4 or 5 books are with Raven, and I forgot the girl's name, but that's football. This is the baseball, and I really enjoyed this book. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 because I was hoping something else would happen, but it was just great, and I want to reread the first 3 books of the other series because I missed that, and it was just great. And this cover is so glossy. I love it, guys. But I'm not usually into baseball, but I really enjoyed this romance. And the last book I read was There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins, and I was very disappointed with it. I wasn't disappointed in it like because I was expecting something else, because you have to remember it's Stephanie Perkins, and she normally does lighthearted, fluffy stuff, so obviously it's going to be like a funny thriller book. And for me, like, it hit that mark perfectly. It was funny. I just wasn't a fan of the writing. I didn't really like her writing with this, and I did feel bored halfway through, and the first like 150 pages were great, but then after that I was definitely bored. I didn't like how they revealed the killer so early. I wasn't a fan of that, and I don't know, it just wasn't like an amazing book. I think I gave this like a 2 or 3 out of 5, but yeah, I definitely recommend this if you're into Scream. You would totally like this, but the writing just wasn't for me because I'm so used to these adult thrillers now that this is a YA one. So yeah. But that's it. That's all I read in November. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any recommendations, leave them down below. Bye!